Okay, so this is actually a very, very cool story. Glauber actually sent me a private message saying you have to read this guy's article because he has this whole story. His name is Preston. He says is in fact in jail, but I believe he's been in jail for a long time. And if I'm not mistaken, he's actually in prison. A little kind of like one of those language barriers. Glauber's from Canada. I don't know if they have jails or prisons in Canada. I'm not really sure how it works. But Preston is in fact making commits from prison. He got some sort of release due to good behavior and other things where he actually has a job. He's a software engineer in prison, giving a lot of his time to open source software. Now that's wild. So we're going to read his story. It's called How I Got There. Ooh, don't cry. I can already feel happy. Hey, no one is crying, okay? Shut up. All right, incarcerated FOSS developer, backend and systems devs, command line junkie. Let's go. My story and how this is all possible. Introduction. My name is Preston Thorpe. I'm 31 years old, and I've spent just under 10 years of my life in prison, all for nonviolent drug crimes. Crazy. My brother right now is currently on his second year for a 11-year sentence. It's wild to think of the opportunity this guy has. It's very, very hard to have opportunity in prison, and man, this guy is doing it. That's crazy. This is just absolutely crazy. I'm currently incarcerated at Mountain View Correctional Facility in Charleston, Maine. More importantly, far more importantly, I'm a software developer, open source maintainer, contributor, and all-around enthusiast. I'm a Rust fanatic, and I love Linux, NeoVim, Alacrity, Tmux, tiling window managers, DWM. Of course, it's DWM. Dude, you can just smell it. You can just feel it. What a Chad using suckless software and doing everything possible from the command line. NeoVim, awesome. Alacrity. If I were not using Ghosty, I would use Alacrity. I think the maintainer of Alacrity is a really swell fella. I see somebody saying a meme. There was one meme. There you go. Why should you go to prison as an entrepreneur? No cost of living, gym and rehab perks, surrounded by hustlers, taxes pay for you, time off from wife and kids to focus on the grind. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyways, I don't know who will even end up reading this, but that's the whole idea of blogs, right? Ideally, maybe the Primogen will read it at some point. Let's go. I got mentioned from prison. Let's go. I feel like it's right up his alley. I have a lot of respect for him, and I really appreciated him sharing his own story, particularly the message of working hard for what you want and always to stay away from bullshit/drugs. Let's go. Hey, let's go. That's right. Dude, I'm not pre-read. Okay, I told you, Glauber told me I had to read it, and I assumed it was some sort of mention like that. That's pretty sweet. Hey, appreciate that, Preston. And you should. I'm not convinced most good things happen from that area. Okay, anyways, he has actually been a pretty big inspiration for me in the tech world, and I have been following him for over a year now. So on the off chance that you're reading this, thanks for everything you do. You've been an enormous inspiration to me and the only source of entertainment I've allowed myself in the last year plus. Dang. I work out. We're working out. Okay, here we go. Okay, no pressure. Dude, W Prime, dude, W Thorpe. Okay, the real W's Preston, dude. It is one thing to make your life good when you don't have, because everyone has some level of external situations in which are pressing them down. Now, obviously, his external situation pressing him down was unfortunately volunteered into by committing nonviolent drug crimes, right? Like, sorry, brother. Like, I mean, obviously, this is the consequence of said actions, but nonetheless, being able to take the now really crappy situation and turn it into something is just amazing. Like, that is a story for the ages. The relatively short version, I was a stupid 17-year-old computer geek spending my high school years, the 05 to 09 wares and torrent scenes, and was kicked out of my parents' house for being a stupid 17-year-old like many kids are. But instead of ending up broke and homeless, sleeping in a car or on couches, I did that for a bit too, though, and coming back to mom plus dad's apologetic, as I'm sure was their plan, I ended up stumbling headfirst into the world of pre-Silk Road dark web internet wholesale drugs. If you kick out somebody that's super computer illiterate, especially during that time, I mean, where else do you think they're going to end up? This was the place where chemicals could be bought for pennies from sketchy companies in India, China, and there were vendors in Canada, Holland, Germany, etc. that sold bulk of whatever you wanted, all by email referral. Hey, the early 2000s and mid 2000s and late 2000s, those were that was hell of years right there. So instead of coming back home broke and apologetic, I ended up pretty deep into this and soon was making tens of thousands of dollars a week, very much unapologetic. At the age of 20, I was arrested for the first time. I was caught mostly with MDMA coming in the mail from Vancouver. I have found that I adapt pretty well to just about whatever situation I happen to be put in. Prison was no different, although these people were very different from the hippie, raver, music festival people I dealt with on the street. These people were hardcore addicts. Many of were into crimes and a lifestyle that I had no part of. The thing about prison is that it has its own subculture, its own lingo, its own set of morality, and this is enforced by an extremely negative groupthink, strict mindset that we are criminals. We hate cops, we hate rats, pedophiles, thieves. I mean, that's a pretty good move. Can we all agree? Like, out of one virtuous act of prison is that there is a uniformly agreed upon dislike of pedophiles. That's a pretty big W. Okay? Can we all agree to that one? Thieves, only if you steal from other inmates. You can steal whatever you want from any grandma on the street. And anyone that has ever PC'd, asked for protective custody due to fear of violence from another inmate. This mindset is strictly enforced on everyone living in population, and spending a few years around such negativity will change anyone. In prison, there is nothing to do except get tattoos, work out, and wait for some kind of drama to unfold so you can either watch something go down or participate in it. Yep. This pretty much sounds like everything I've understood from my brother's experience. Sending books is a very smart move to people. If you have family in prison, send them books. A few years later, I left prison with $0 in my pocket. Lawyers and commissary are expensive. Commissary, oh, by the way, this is such a rip. Dude, the entire prison system is so much taken advantage of. It is absolutely the worst thing. To make a phone call to somebody in prison, I forget what it is, but it's like 10 cents a minute or just some absurd amount of money. It's ridiculous. 10, 25 cents a minute. I forget the exact cost of it all. But man, you can spend so much money just communicating with people. It is so broken. It is so dang broken. I'm not here saying fuck prisons. I'm saying the current system is broken, okay? Commercial prisons should be illegal. I'm fully on board with that. I do not think there's anything good about private prisons. The incentive is just too broken there. It's just too broken because normally the person going to prison tends to be there are more poor people going to prison or related to poor people than people with a lot of money. So communications, asks, commissary, everything is a really hard fact on top of them, and it's really grody. It's very, very bad. Totally not cool. And nobody pays for what you owe when you come in. Here's the worst part about prison. Get this. If you go to prison and you have nobody giving you money and you're simply broke during the winter years, you don't even get warm clothes. You actually have to sit in colder weather with just simply a long sleeve shirt, and that's it. It's miserable. It is so broken. Like, not even giving them clothes to be okay with in like super cold weather. Like, dude, it's just like, okay, like I agree that prison is both for the sake of justice, which is going to be a form of punishment, but the end goal is hopefully that you can have somebody that comes out also rehabilitated. I think you can make you can make a punishment, which is the act of going to prison, but also in hopes to have rehabilitation at the same time. Yeah. So anyways, I was left with the difficult choice of either living there and walking to a temp agency with the hopes of making $10.50 an hour doing manual labor without an ID or social security card at this point, or getting on a bus to NYC to see some associates and coming back in a week or so with 15 to 25K in my pocket and living in comfy luxury hotels until I could rent an apartment. I chose the latter, obviously. I think most people probably in that situation would do the same thing, and obviously was back in prison after a short 14 months of addiction and misery. I've been incarcerated now on this sentence since May of 2017. I came in with a terrible attitude, a terrible outlook on life, and no hope for my future. I spent almost 3 years altogether in a 22 to 23-hour solitary confinement over the years, 10% of my life. And at one point, I had truly become one of the people that looked at me when I first came to prison at age of 20 and asked, "Is this your first bid?" To which everyone replies, "First, I'm not coming back in here." To which there is always laughter from the older heads. Everyone says that, but everyone comes back. Facts on facts. Growing up, my poor behavior and then perceived influence I had in the relatively small prison system that I came from ended up getting me put on an interstate transfer list. By the way, I do want to come back to this really quick thing. Again, one thing they do in prisons is like often if you transfer prisons or go to a new prison, you can end up spending an entire month in solitary confinement. My brother has spent, I forget how many months in solitary confinement now. It's truly crazy. I mean, you spend 22 to 23 hours a day in just a small little cell. Send people books, okay? You have family members in prison, send them books. My poor behavior and perceived influence I had in the relatively small prison system that I came from ended up getting me put into interstate transfer list after 13 months in solitary confinement for no disciplinary action. Safety and security on the facility is the official reason it says on my classification paperwork. Little did I know this would be the single best thing that would ever happen to me. Because I had no disciplinary action, and I guess very some fortunate timing, I got transferred to Maine, which is not a state that I thought was even an option, as it does not have a reputation for taking problem inmates from other states. The prison system in Maine is different from all others, as the inmate population is insulated from most of the street/prison gangs that generally run things. Not having to deal with the politics and the drama was refreshing. A bit of a shock at first. Quickly, I realized that my time could just be spent on myself, trying to improve my life or just do what I wanted with my time. I began to focus my time on things like teaching myself about organic chemistry and finance, option trading, and began for the first time to realize that I might be capable of more than what I had resided on, and that I could end up doing whatever I put my mind to. Dude, that's pretty BA. Also, option trading is insane. I just want to throw this out here. Option trading that's like, out of everything so far in here, brother, please don't get into that. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. I had previously accepted my fate as one must when you get a plus 10-year sentence. So he must have got I assume what he got is what is referred to as the little bitch. For those that are unfamiliar with prison nomenclature, the little bitch, or it's like the smaller habitual offender. When you perform the same thing over and over again, you get what is referred to as a habitual offender. And there's two types of sentences with a habitual offender. There is the small habitual offender, which is usually your second time, which is going to be a 10 to 11 year or 12-year prison sentence. And then there's the big habitual offender, which is going to be your 25, 30-year prison sentence. And so he got hit, which what my guess is the little bitch. One day, I woke up and looked around, and I had, hold on, did I miss it? Otherwise, you'll go insane, constantly thinking about what you could have done different or what you could have been doing with your life. But I had accepted my fate as a criminal. I had accepted the identity and the lifestyle and the misery and the mindset that comes along with it. One day, I woke up and looked around me and had what can only be described as an epiphany. All of a sudden, all the conversations I would hear about drugs and war stories all just sounded like absolute bullshit to me, and I was suddenly ashamed that I ever participated in it. From that point, I no longer felt like it was okay or normal that I was locked up in a cage, and the acceptance and self-identity as being a criminal no longer felt like it was something I was okay with. When it was available to me, I enrolled in college through the University of Maine, Augusta, and before classes even started, I was completely enthralled with the idea of learning how to program again. It had been 15 years since I had done PHP/Perl plus a simple websites. Let's go. Lambo Lang mentioned. Lambo Lang also Savior Lang? Is that what we're hearing here? PHP gives you more than Lambos. It also can give purpose. It can also re-instill some purpose and excitement of learning. Damn, let's go. So not a lot had left over. But wait, who else has opportunity to spend 12 plus hours a day learning something for years with no other obligations and responsibility? That's pretty much. When I went to college, I lived in the dormitory for all 4 years so that I didn't have to clean up. Food was on campus. I just walk down and eat and go back up. And just study 12, 16 hours every single day. Brother, it is such a blessing to be able to spend that much time doing something. You will get so good at stuff. It all of a sudden clicked that I would dedicate the remainder of my time to learning everything I could about computer science and teaching myself software development. The next approximate 3 years would be spent exactly this way. To this very day I write this, there is zero substitution for hard work, and I intend on continuing to use every moment of my remaining sentence to improve myself and my skills. Please, if there is anything you take from this entire article, this, okay? I don't know how many times I have to say this, and I will say it until I cannot say it any longer and there's no one left listening to me. There is this stupid phrase that I think has done more harm to everybody, specifically in these like super infinite skill gap trades, computer science being one of them, in which people say, work smart, don't work hard. This is the dumbest phrase in the universe. This is stupid. Shut up. Don't listen to them. Here's the deal. When you start off, you don't know what the hell smart is. You are going to work hard, and you're going to work hard for years. You're going to do this for a long ass time because you don't even know what the hell smart is, and you have no idea what that even means. So you're going to work hard. You're going to learn everything. Reinvent that gosh dang wheel all you want every single day. If someone's like, no, I am at the wheel, tell them to shut the hell up. You know why? Because you're going to keep on doing this day after 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 day. And at some point, all of a sudden something happens where you now understand what it means to work smart. And here's the best part. Working smart does not mean working less, okay? Such as just a dumb notion. Working hard is the foundation. If there was such thing as a pyramid, it would be the bottom of the pyramid. If you can't get this part, you don't deserve the rest of that part. Sorry, this line just gets me so pumped up. This line gets me so dang pumped up. This is like literally my Laracon talk, right? During the pandemic, staff were sympathetic to the residents here who were unable to see loved ones and unable to spend their time on the internet when everything was shut down. And we were locked in our rooms like they had. This brought about the internet being brought into the prison system for probably the first time in the country. Being technically inclined led me the opportunity to work on the education department, and I ended up helping considerably in getting things working properly, and I still do. This guy does really cool stuff. After helping with the network for some time and implementing some software solutions for the DOC, when I asked for permission to seek remote employment, they obliged. I was one of the first people in the country to be allowed to be on remote work release from a medium security prison. Dude, that's so dang cool. I believe this highlights the fact that you cannot take opportunities that you are not given. And I would never be in the position I am now, a completely changed man working full-time for my cell, with a career doing what I love, not only programming, but also helping improve the system. Details. You should check out this. If I'm not mistaken, this is where, yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff there. If this opportunity wasn't... I need some coffee. Hold on. Throat got a little dry there. If this opportunity wasn't given to me in the form of a laptop and limited internet access, this is an incredible rare situation. Maine is the only state in the country where these particular opportunities exist at all, and for a limited number of residents, currently just those enrolled in college, and there are many restrictions. I am grateful for the opportunity, but I recognize that this is very much the exception and not the rule. And success of Maine model. Oh, I forgot to actually change this over to this. My bad. Whoopsie daisies. Welcome to my stream. I'm a horrible streamer. I'm okay. I've never done this. No, Jeremy, stop it, Jeremy. We're gonna do push-ups together, Jeremy. But also, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm very grateful for the opportunity, but I recognize that this is very much the exception and not the rule. And the success of Maine model of corrections should highlight the absolute embarrassing lack of opportunities in the rest of the system to do anything but become bitter, broke criminal, deprived of not just your freedom, family, financial security, and reputation, but also your self-identity as someone who is worth investing in changing. Yeah, I mean, even just because, I mean, you can never make somebody change, but the fact that there's not the opportunity to change. Like, I am fully on board. I'll say this again, and I have no problem. I think I am fine with punitive justice. I think it is a right thing. If somebody murders somebody, I think they deserve jail. I am not about this whole idea that doesn't exist. I am fine with people like that. If you have 1,000 pills of fentanyl and you're distributing them, I think you are near murder, right? I think you deserve punitive justice. But I also completely believe in the ability for rehabilitation. Now, we can all make arguments about like how much pot is you went from having a personal amount to a distributable amount. Like that's just those are dumb arguments. I believe in punitive justice, but I believe in rehabilitation. Like I believe in both those things. That's because I believe in both grace, mercy, and justice. And I think a lot of people don't have that. I didn't say 1,000 pounds. I said 1,000 pills. That's different. Right, 1,000 pills is much different. Just to be completely transparent, that's exactly what my brother was caught with, was 1,000 pills of fentanyl, which is funny because he mainly was a meth smoker. But you know, throwing in a little clonazepam, some Seroquel, throwing some of those SSRIs, oh boy, you can get a wholly different person. Anyways, All right, we need to do better as a society and understand that yes, there are people in the system that deserve this kind of punishment, but a large majority of our prison population are just regular people, nonviolent drug offenders like myself. I don't know what the population is, but I do not actually. I believe by study or at least federal data, it's actually not a large portion. It's hard, right? Like what if you're distributing a whole bunch of chemicals to make substances, are you just someone using drugs? I don't know. Like I think that's a really hard problem. It's not a very simple problem because you also, in some sense, are guilty, right? If you're selling fentanyl, even though you only have small amounts at a time, say 100 pills at a time, like there's something that's really also there's a lot of like weight to that because there's hundreds of thousands of people that die per year by it. So it's like, there's a lot to it. And so I don't want to like minimize that, but I'm totally on his team that we need to have redemption as part of our justice. If you can't have, if redemption is not a part of justice, then I think the system is broken. And I think everybody can agree to that, right? Not all drugs have the same harm either. You're absolutely right, right? You have to have both. If you can only have punitive justice, I do not think you can have a just society. I don't think you have justice. There are plenty more like me that are capable of being responsible, productive, tax-paying members of society if given the opportunity, but you cannot expect anyone to change when you just lock them up in a cage with a bunch of other criminals where there's a subculture of endless negativity. This is such a good point also. If there is no, like the prison my brother is going to right now, there is a chance to be in like what is called like the good ward or the good side. If you have some long history of showing that you work hard, volunteer for the prison positions and all this, you could move to like this separate wing. And I think that that's like one of the good ways to kind of, if you will, I hate using the term wheat and chaff here because I'm a personal opinion that all humans have value. And so you can separate out those that want to change and those that don't want change. And I think that that's like a really good first step, minimally. I love the opportunity-based stuff that exists. If you are interested in helping support education of incarcerated and justice-impacted individuals, please consider donating to a company like the one I currently work for, Unlocked Labs, or similar nonprofits like The Last Mile, Recidiviz, that are working to improve the system of mass incarceration and provide opportunities for the incarcerated to learn and grow. If I'm not mistaken, Front End Masters, I want to say they're involved with The Last Mile. I cannot remember which one I think they're involved with one of these. They also help donate their courses and stuff like that to help people in this situation that have access. Justice impacted. I'm not really into like the PC terms for this kind of stuff. If you get arrested and you actually did the crime, I'm fully on board. Go to jail, but still want to see a redemption arc. I still think people should have the opportunity to do something. Thanks for taking the time to read this. P. Wow, I definitely wasn't expecting this to get to the front page of Hacker News. In light of this, and some harsh but undoubtedly fair comments that were made, as well as some completely ignorant ones. Yeah, when it comes to prisons, most people have really stupid opinions on prison because most of them have no family members. They have no impact. They just read articles out of the New York Times and then regurgitate dumb stuff. I would like to add some clarifications for a few things. I have been an opioid addict for over 10 years, dang, and to this day prescribed Suboxone. Ooh, that's such a tough one. That is such a tough one. I cannot tell you how many people are stuck on this exact thing. It is so dang hard, and there's so much to this, and it will just dictate their life for so long. And even being on Suboxone, you can actually see a difference as people are on and off this. It's like this is a real deal. Opioid addiction is just like so bad. It is so bad. Suboxone and methadone, just trading one for another. Yeah, it's really, at least it's more controlled and the effects aren't as big, right? Like if you've ever been around somebody who's used a lot of opioids, like I'd rather have them on Suboxone. Can we all agree to that? Like it's crazy. The other side of things. Yeah, and Suboxone is obviously heavily pushed by doctors. I'm not exactly sure the relationship between doctors and the push of this drug, but it's good that I would rather have this than this. And so that's like a good step. Right? Being treated for OUD as well as recently have been cured from Hep C from years of drug abuse. As an addict and someone who has seen this lifestyle and drugs in particular claimed the lives of countless friends. Two of them extremely close to me, Rip Mark Boschner and Scott Young. I'm absolutely and forever will be ashamed of any participation I had in that lifestyle or for perpetuating the scourge of addiction. That's good. That's good. Ownership is really good. I think ownership is a huge thing that people do not take that do not take seriously, especially when it comes to addiction. Like, if you cannot realize that addiction is not just simply you being affected by something, it's also your participation in and encouragement also hurts other people, is like a really big thing. And I think anytime you can recognize those things, that's like a huge benefit. I would like to apologize publicly to anyone who has been affected by this, and there is no excuse for my actions other than the same terrible one I gave, one I give, am forced to give for all of them. That I was young, ignorant, addicted, and held absolutely no value for my own life. Yeah, I mean, reasonable, nor lives of others. I'm genuinely sorry and ashamed on that level that I could never be properly communicated, and understand that although I will live, hold on, I gotta get a little throat again, a little dry here. And I understand that although I will have to live with that for the rest of my life, many others will not get that chance. Real stuff here. Dang. In the system, people are very open and accepting of their fate. Jokes are often made about how short someone was on the street, or bets will be placed how quickly someone will be back, always in months. Everyone speaks about release as if it's temporary, like a vacation from their accepted fate of prison or death. Dude, that is so wild. It reminds me of the Great Divorce. It's like this vacation you take to another place, but your ultimate destination really was always down in hell to begin with. And like, that's like crazy. This is contagious, and when someone loses all value for their own life in acceptance of that fate, it creates a population of miserable, hopeless people with nothing to lose. As stated in the original post, I did not value my life, nor did I believe I was capable of anything more than the life I had resided to. Whew. It's been a year since I did this. Nice. Let's hear it. In May, I was promoted to senior developer plus tech lead for a product team. Let's go. What an accomplishment. So it's been very exciting leading a team with development with a team of 6 going on 7 people now, and all of the other responsibilities that came with it. I've had the chance to conduct technical interviews of 2 developer positions we filled, and I've spent the last few months teaching, mentoring another resident in a different facility in Maine who I was put in contact with. I had heard he matched my level of discipline by putting 14 hours a day learning every single day. That has been the most rewarding thing I've done because he had put the tremendous amount of work, and we are now hiring him this week. That's pretty cool. That's super cool. And I am fortunate enough to see and have directly contributed to the same life-altering changes that have happened to me over the past few years. That's sweet. That is great. I cannot recommend enough that devs volunteer some time teaching or mentoring. Not only do you learn a ton yourself, but it is really exciting to see how efficiently you can teach someone else the things that you had meticulously pieced together yourself. Optimizing someone else's learning path scratches the same optimize itch we devs get naturally. And the feeling that you are positively impacting someone's life is a great feeling. Amen. Today, I was promoted to principal engineer, and it looks like I'll be leading development for unlocked labs for the foreseeable future, even after I'm released. We are expanding our project plans and moving forward with building an SIS platform focused on providing meaningful education to incarcerated students and helping people earn and receive good time credits, allowing their progress to be tracked across facilities and platforms. That would be great. This would be so great. You know, my brother was in one in Colorado, and it actually had a dog program. And he actually was getting his like certification becoming like a dog trainer. And like that was actually hugely meaningful for him. You know, like that was something that was really benefit, but he left before it was all done and then, you know, got back into drugs. But nonetheless, like having things, because I don't know if my brother is capable, he's been using, you know, is capable of this same level of stuff. He's a lot older. He's used drugs for a lot longer. And there's a lot of problems there. But, you know, like I would love to see more like skills-based purpose or satisfaction-based like job stuff that can help people like grow. Awesome. This is awesome. Hoping to be eligible for administrative home confinement in the next 3 to 8 months. I know I'm ready to go home and spend meaningful time with my family. That's so good. What a great post. Now I want to read his other stuff. Look at this. Magic isn't real. PHP, Laravel, the good, the bad, and the meh. We rewrote our app and go. Oh, that sounds great. This sounds great. I love all those words, except for the meh part. I think PHP has its own W's in it by itself. By the way, I can't believe you gave me a shout out at all. That's entirely too nice. Great story, dude. I hope that at the end of the day, this makes it, because there's a lot of people in Twitch chat. There's a lot of people in Twitch chat right now. Type 1 in the chat if you are working, you are learning, and you do not have a job and you feel a touch hopeless. I know there's a lot of people. I feel like I've always said this, and I've always been very, very straight about this topic. I do not believe in the shortcuts. I don't believe in the 12 weeks to become a full-time engineer. I do not believe in any of those things. And I know that a lot of you guys are really like having it, there's a lot of people that are having it hard out there. But man, like hopefully this story is not a story where it makes you feel like I could never be this guy. And I'm sure you have situations that are different. Maybe you can't do 14 hours a day due to your very situation. But what you can take from this is that even in the most tragic situations, it is completely possible to do something about your life. And maybe you can't do, my brother does not have these opportunities, right? The people that I know that are in prison do not have these opportunities that this guy had, just due to our system, right? But there are still opportunities even within there that you can go and you can better yourself and try to change your life, even in the worst. And so hopefully this is like a note of something that makes you feel like you can, as opposed to feel like your position in life is permanent. One of the biggest mistakes I've always made, and I've made it several times, including within the last little bit of time, is looking at life as permanent. Right? It's not. Your position, the things you're at, they're not permanent. You're constantly changing, but the change is slow. And it's hard to tell. But it's easy to tell over a long period of time. And so one of the things that I realized is that I wasn't taking as seriously what I needed to the moments I had with my kids at one point, because there's this permanent feeling about having young kids. You feel like I'm always drowning in having to change diapers and do all these things. And then one day, there's no more diapers. I'm a father of 4. I have been snipped. I cannot have kids anymore. And I will never change another one of my kids' diapers because none of them wear diapers anymore. That time period has left. It's gone. And so it's like you got to remember these things, Damn onions? Yeah, I know. Anyways, until you're a grandfather. Yeah, then I get to change my grandson's diapers, which is sweet. Or my granddaughter's diapers. But that's a different world, right? Anyways, whew. Yeah, I know. Normally I work out. I'm not much of a crier. You know what I mean? A lot of working out needs to be done today. Hey, the name is I gotta go work out, man. I gotta go repent with working out. Jen.